Graham, good to see you again. I'll start with what feels like the most important question at the moment, which is how are you, bodies-wise, numbers-wise, particularly defensively going into Saturday?
Fluctuating at the moment because this illness has been going through the squad a little bit. So we've had a couple of lads miss yesterday, then a couple different lads miss today. So we're hoping, the break off tomorrow will give the lads a bit of space between them, and we have a fully fit squad on Friday. But we just don't know at the moment. It's obviously we lost Burner last Saturday for it, and 3 or 4 since then. So fingers crossed. But we have to train, we have to be together. But we've tried to limit the time this week to try and keep everyone, or give everyone the best chance of staying fit.
Has Neil come through the illness, or is he still suffering from it?
No, he was a bit ropey yesterday when he trained because he's lacking energy. But he's had a full training session today. He spoke to him afterwards, and he says he feels miles better today. So with another 72 hours before the game, I think he'll be fine. For selection, but it's the other guys that have got it now. So it seemed to be like with Bernard's our first case, and it was for 24 hours he was being sick for, and then it was just replenishing his energy levels. So we're hoping the same with the other boys.
Jack, it was a dead leg, was it, that forced him off? Has he overcome that? Has he all right?
He trained today, but it's something he's been nursing for quite a few weeks. He got it, I can't remember, 3 or 4 games ago, and he had to come off. And then he just got another whack on it on Saturday. So, fingers, he's got through training today, so it's just a case of nursing it through. But, listen, he's a tough boy, and he's going to have to crack on.
Illness aside, no new injuries to concern or worry you?
No. So that's a good point to for us anyway. That players are returning slowly. It's just the illness thing that's been the biggest hindrance this week, and obviously from Saturday. But to be fair to the players, they overcame that on Saturday, and hopefully we'll do the same this week.
Goes without saying, but I can only imagine how difficult that is to plan for a team and get that ready for Saturday. Yeah,
well, it was training today. We usually plan what we're going to do the next day, the day before, but I left it yesterday because we didn't know who was going to turn up and who wasn't, I should say, because it's the majority are here. So the same will be the case over the next 2 days until Friday morning. And but even Friday we can plan ahead, and we saw Saturday. Bernard was in the team on Friday night, nothing, and then Saturday morning we have to change. So that's the need to be prepared, both as a staff and as the players. I think they have to be ready to play, and the majority of them are.
On Alex Patterson's injury, I think you gave a time frame of about a month, give or take. Just where is he at on his recovery, and is he on track for that kind of time length?
He's just plateaued out a little bit, but he was actually ahead of schedule before. So, and all these estimates are estimates. They're rough guides to what we expect from an injury, and I think sometimes there can be a week where there's great progress, and then there's a week where it just plateaus out. But over the whole time, generally they're roughly around the marker point. But each player is different, each athlete is different. So when he's available, he'll come back into contention. It's the same scenario as all the other boys really that we've had missing. Disappointing, but I'll be honest, I think the team and the squad have really carried the torch and done really well over the recent weeks.
I know you said this week about assessing the losses through injury, maybe more particularly the muscle-based injuries that you've picked up, and where you can maybe try and improve on that. How does that take place? How does that assessment take place? Is that you individually, or is it a collaborative process with your medical team? And what do the conversations, without going into too much detail, look like?
Yeah, it's collaboration. I know nothing about injuries. So if I sat there trying to work out on my own in a room, I'd be there for a long time and come out with no conclusions. So, but I have to be part of the process. Obviously, we train the boys. I know about the athleticism of boys and the sort of endurance that players need. Obviously, I experienced that a lot myself as a player and now as a manager, but the actual injuries and stuff, my knowledge is extremely limited. So, but we're all part of the process. The medical team, the strength, the sports science team, we all have responsibilities towards the players. So we have to sit down and talk that through. So that's what we're doing at the moment. But we're looking into everything: the diet, the pre-match food, the travelling, the training pitch, the amount of travelling that each individual does as a player from where they're based, all those sort of things, just to try and find anything that we can impact on. There's certain things that we can't impact on and we just have to crack on. But if we can try and change and be better, then it's our duty to try and do that. So you only get it through communication and being honest with each other. And that's a process we're trying to get through. It's more in depth than sitting down for an hour and working it out. I think we have to question things, then put things into place, and then see if there is an improvement. So it's a time process, and there's a new staff really with players that came in the summer, and it's about working together and all that sort of thing. So it takes time, just as it does with a playing team, that it takes time to gel and understand each other. It's the same as a staffing team as well. So we're all getting to understand the environment we have here, what we have to share with the school and what we can and can't do, and just take everything into account. But we'll get there, and we will find some improvements. But like I said, every team has injuries anyway, but it's only right that we look into it.
Separately, I wanted to ask you about Andy Cook, and I'm sure throughout this whole season we'll be talking about Andy and his goal-scoring exploits, and further adding to his overall tally at the club, and obviously this season as well. Soon to turn 34, I think I'm right in saying, but seemingly getting better despite his age. Whether that should be a determining factor or not is kind of my question to you, really, as someone in your playing days who, I think you've said yourself, had some of your best years as a player towards the latter stages of your career. What would be your advice to Andy Cook in terms of just how far he can go?
Do more. That's I had this thinking, this belief when I was a player that when I was a young player in my 20s and I saw older players get to 30 and start to try and take some off their training regime and try and take an extra day off and try and do less to save themselves. And I didn't see, I'll be honest, I didn't see anyone improve. It was that's what I felt. So in my own case, I got to 30 and I started to decide to add things every year and do more. And that was how I went. And my best years were after 35. Between 35 and 40 were my best years, believe it or not. But it's because I did more. I didn't do less. I thought I tried to add things to my training regime myself individually, do more in the gym, recover longer, do more things, rather train every single day. I insisted on training every single day. I didn't want any special dispensations, and we don't give Cookie any, because I think it's a slow road to retirement, or a quicker road to retirement. I think you've got to go at it hammer and tongs, and I think I spoke to Cookie about all these things way before the summer, maybe in January, February, about prolonging your career and enjoying what you're doing. And he loves what he's doing. He absolutely loves it. So why not do everything you can to extend it for another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it is. I'm not putting even a limit on it.
Yeah.
He took that on board. It's not me that does the work, it's him that does the work. So we can only advise and try and influence and help, because sometimes a player needs support about what to do, extra, and we can give that. But ultimately, it comes down to the player and his devotion to his career and his job. And like I said in pre-season, Cookie was the standout example for everybody else from my perspective, because he came back in great shape, trains every day, scored goals through pre-season. Let's talk that into the league season, and he's getting what he's earned. Yeah. No one's giving it him. You know what I mean? He's earned it through hard work, through making sacrifices in his home life, you know, and his downtime, his days off, and he's reaping the rewards. It's not for me, it's not a secret. I don't think it's this that hard work pays off. I know it's a cliche and people say it a lot, but I think it's true. And but it's not everyone can work that hard. Not everyone can do that. So I think if you can do that, then you're already getting the benefits and getting a head start on everyone else who won't put their work in.
How well do you think he's handling the adulation? And that might seem like quite an easy thing to answer, but obviously he's so well loved by the fan base, and his longevity and the amount of goals that he's scoring, important goals as well that he's scoring, he's so very well thought of. But you know, I can only look from afar as a player to handle that adulation and with that pressure. And again, from your playing days, someone who's revered at Burnley, at Preston, how do you handle that kind of, I don't want to say legend status because that kind of feels like we might not be there. I don't know. That's for people to decide. But to deal with that.
I think he loves it, to be honest. I think he loves it. But fair play. I think he's earned it, like I say. But I think I don't think there's any player doesn't like a pat on the back from everybody. You know, his teammates, his manager, his wife. You know, the bosses, the supporters, they're all there. But I think Cookie understands the importance of the team as well. I think he's quite well aware that he couldn't do it on his own, which is good. He doesn't strut around the place like he's top dog, which I like about him. I think he's very humble in his approach to things, in his work. He doesn't think he's the finished article. I think he thinks he can improve. He believes he can still improve. So I think he's for me, a great professional on that side of it, because, you know, sometimes players can get carried away with a little bit of adulation, and sometimes they can get adulation on not much. But that's certainly not the case in Cookie. You know, if you look at his numbers, unbelievable numbers, and he deserves every bit of credit he gets. But if we're not successful, I know it will hurt him. So, you know, the challenge for us all and for Cookie is to make sure we're successful, because it's great scoring those goals, but they've got to mean something. And I think he's determined to try and do that with us.
Last one from me, just back at home, of course, against Gillingham, and a team well in that mix now. When you look at how the table is shaping up, what are we now, 11 games in, so nearly a quarter way through the season, and how tight it is, and you're obviously in that mix as well. What do you make to the way that League Two is shaping up now?
Yeah, I think it's with, you know, there was a lot of talk in the summer about, you know, the big clubs or the big financial clubs going through the league and into the next division, and it being a bit more of an open playing field this season. Whether that is the case long term, we'll see. But it certainly looks similar to that at the moment. I don't think there's anybody, you know, surging away with it, or, you know, picking up good results and then followed by a result they can't explain. I think there's a lot of teams in that sort of bracket. So I'll be honest, I don't know the top six. What I can see, I know we're 7th, but I can't tell you who's first, second. It's irrelevant to me. I know where we want to be points-wise, roughly. I know we want to go from game to game and take something from every game if we can. I know where we've done exceptionally well in and out of possession. I know where we have to improve. For me, that's the things where we have to focus on as players and as a staff. I think if we look at the league table now and get into that game with 30-odd games to go, then, you know, you're putting yourself through a lot of unknown thoughts, really. There's nothing concrete. So what can we focus on? I think we have to focus on the here and now and the next opponent. But, you know, I think there'll be, you know, we could be sitting here saying, yeah, the division's open, it's a right chance for us. But I'm telling you now, there's 15, 16 other clubs thinking the exact same thing. So we have to earn it as much as anybody else. But I think we've made a solid start. Like I said before, I think we've navigated through a really difficult period for us as a team. I think the players deserve exceptional credit and great credit for that. But we are also working on where we have to get better. It's important that we maintain that all the way through the season and then see where we end.
Thanks, Graham.
Okay, mate.
As you say, it's impossible to tell who's going to win it or get promoted at this stage. But take Gillingham as an example. They were top. They've gone into a poor run of results. But it is the case of anyone can beat anyone, the old cliche in this division, isn't it? So nothing to say that that's the end of them.
No, I think traditionally League Two is the most competitive division. I think the teams can finish near the bottom one season and be in the playoff picture or even the top three picture the next season because there's such a turnover of people at clubs at this level. And so it's not a surprise when you see a league table and you see who's up there and who's not. I think it's quite volatile in that respect. But we don't we take our season so far in as a case in point. When we had everyone fit and available and strong, we were picking up really good results. When we had a moment where we lost a lot of players in a really short space of time, we had a difficult moment. We've recovered from that, and it's not just the returning players. I think those players have just had time to settle into the team and find their feet. And so each team has its challenges along the way in a season, and it can affect results. Sometimes it doesn't, but it can affect results. And I don't know, when other teams are winning and then suddenly not picking up results, what their scenario is. I don't look that in depth into it. I'll look into what we're doing and then our direct next opponent. That's where my focus lies. So, but we know the challenge week in, week out, wherever we go. It's always going to be tough. If we ever let ourselves drop into a sense of comfort, or we can come off the level of application, then we're just going to lose. It's as simple as that.
I suppose it's a case of, great result against Tranmere, great result before that, but they mean nothing if it's not a great result on Saturday.
No, but they do because they've added to our tally. So it's, this whatever happens on Saturday isn't going to take away from what we did in the previous games, but what we did in the previous games is not going to win us the game on Saturday. So that is, it's more like that. So the points we've picked up in those last three games are really valuable points for us, and it makes our overall picture look better. But it's nothing. That's it now. That's the point tally after that. But whatever's in the future, we have to earn it again. So, but I think the players should take, and they are taking, confidence in what they're doing. I think we're learning about what we're good at and what we need to improve. So we're constantly doing that. We've done it again today because I think it's important that we continue to chase our best performance and try and tweak things, but without forgetting what we're really good at. And we are good at a lot of things, and it's important the players know that.
I think confidence is something that maybe the casual observer of the game doesn't see the importance of, but it's crucial to all players in all positions, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's important. I wouldn't say it's crucial because we all go through moments in our lives or our careers where we don't feel as good as we did the previous week or something like that. We're emotional beings as humans. But I think it's important that you know how to perform even if you're feeling crap, to be honest. I think that's it. Just going, I feel good today, so I'm going to play well. That's not the game. No one cares about that. Your opponents don't care about that. The supporters don't care about that. The media don't care about that. You have to perform. That's it. So what we have to do is not wait for this, this heaven-like status where we feel great. So that means we're going to do that. We're going to have days where we don't feel good, and we're not at our best. But we still have to churn out performances, and we still have to churn out points. So for me, looking for this position where you're fully confident that, don't bother. Just get it down to the basics. What you have to do well. If you do the basics well, I think your confidence grows from that. But there'll be times where we don't feel good. When we were talking about, we didn't feel good after Harrogate, and then we've won 7 points from 3 games. So where did that come from? It didn't come from confidence. It came from a belief and and a commitment to what we had to do to win a game of football. That was it. It wasn't to do with confidence, because we weren't full of confidence at that time. So that's where I believe we have to get our mindsets right to be able to perform consistently, not just when we feel good.
Cheers.
Okay, mate.
So, growing back how competitive this league is, I think last Saturday, when you think second and third at the time lost at home to second bottom and bottom, which probably wouldn't happen in any other division, would it?
Potentially not, or if it is, it's a real rarity. But I think in League Two it can happen, and that's I think the beauty of this division and English football. I don't think there's any gimmies in English football. I think it's such a competitive country for. I think the supporters demand that. You know, I don't think anyone goes with their head bowed, just waiting to be beat. And I think that's important for all teams to have. So that's why I think if you let your guard down, you're just going to get a slap, and we don't want to get slapped too often.
And obviously, you know how you felt and how the squad felt after Harrogate. Obviously, Gillingham have had a week, probably feeling pretty similar. You know, what sort of animal do you expect this weekend?
I thought you were going to ask me for advice there. What do you need? I'm going to help them. But like I said, you know, it's topsy-turvy. I don't know those individuals inside out. You know, it's about people. It's about character, personality, and I think the more you get to work with players, you know what makes them tick. You can inspire them. You can help them, support them. But without knowing people, you know, you don't know what their issues are, or if they have issues, and this, that, the other. So I think every game is a challenge, but the biggest challenge, I believe, is winning ourselves and making sure that we're the best we can be. That's a challenge in itself. If we think we have to focus on other people, I think we're there. I think we're wrong. So we have to make sure that we get our best game and our best focus going into the game. And like you said there, anyone can beat anyone at any level. You know, internationally, League Two, Premier League. If you're not right, and I think the ones that have consistency and have consistency year in, year out have the best mindsets, and I think we've made great strides in that as a group of people here, because we've had our challenges and we've faced up to them, and we've been humble enough to put the work in to correct them, and that, you know, stands us in good stead for the future, because there'll be many more challenges to come.
And obviously,